Hello, today we're making this nice lined zipper pouch. The fabric I am using is just regular cotton fabric, one lining and one outer, a nice zipper. The length is at least 7 inches, some chalk, some pins, fabric scissors, and a ruler that I forgot to hold up for some reason. The first thing I'm doing is cutting out my fabric. So first measuring my zipper, and I'm determining the length of mine, which is I think 7 inches. So the maximum size of my pouch I can make is 7 inches. Well, at least the width I can. So the measurements of your zipper pouch can vary. You can make it giant, you can make it small. I'm making mine pretty decently sized. So the fabric I'm cutting out is roughly 7 inches by 8 inches. 7 inches by 6 inches, I believe. And I'm gonna cut 2 from the outer and from the lining. For the outer, I'm using just some scraps I made a shirt out of. I'm measuring my zipper to make sure. I'm using my chalk to mark out my measurements, and so I can get a nice-ish rectangle. And then this is where I realized I don't like that chalk, so I'm using this chalk that marks like that. I love this chalk. Make sure to mark this on the wrong side of the fabric, not the right side. But I completely forgot, so of course I did. After that, I'm folding it in half so that I have 2 of the same pieces. This is my outer. The papayas is the outer and the stripes is the inner. So the papayas is like outside the fabric is what it's gonna be showing, and then the lining is gonna be this beautiful striped fabric. And I'm just cutting that out. And I'm very nicely folding that. In reality, I was not doing it nicely. And I'm now cutting that in half to give me 2 nice symmetrical-ish pieces. And I'm cutting the same pieces out of my other fabric. I didn't know how, where should I make the lines, diagonal or vertical, but I decided on diagonal. Now looking back at it, I should have made them vertical because it turned out uneven. And then whenever I look in that pouch, the stripes are diagonal, so should have made them vertical. I decided I'm using my already cut pieces as a template, and I'm just gonna cut it out. Now I'm making it perfect. Well, as perfect as you make it. At this point, iron your fabric. Okay, I did. And here's the first step. You can see how the stripes are slanted. Oh my gosh. Should have made them vertical. But what can you do? The first step is to take your zipper and you want to sandwich the fabrics in between it. So first, take your outer fabric, one of your outer fabrics, and place it right sides together on the zipper. Yeah, like that. And here's where I messed up. I should have not sewn that. I should have put the lining right sides down onto the lining fabric right sides down onto the papayas, which is my outer fabric, and then have sewn it on to make it like a sandwich. But I did not. I was pinning. So don't do this. What you want to do is, what I did this for the other side, and that's when I realized my mistake. You wanna just like just first step. Put the fabric you wanna face the outside, down on the table with well, I'm using a zipper for here, just so you know. I need to explain this still. Past now you're giving me a hard time. This is my zipper fit. I'm using it to sew on the zipper so I can get as close to the zipper teeth as possible. Most machines already come with it. But I'm placing my outer fabric right sides down onto the table. So right sides up on the table. So the right side is facing the sky. Then I'm taking my zipper and the outside, and I'm facing, like my right side is the zipper, what's supposed to be on the outside. I'm placing that down on my fabric on the top edge. And then place the lining fabric right sides down onto the fabric with the zipper on it sandwiched in between. And you should have a nice zipper that's like encased. Oh, and here's when I realized my mistake. So this is what you're supposed to do. You see it? I already explained this. Now you want to pin it. Now when you fold it, you should have a nice sandwich zipper. There you go. And here's another look at my zipper fit. This is my regular zipper foot, not my invisible zipper foot. There's a difference. Now you want to do the same thing to the other side. Since I'm pretty sure I made this more in depth. I filmed this video like a week ago, so. Place the fabric, outer edge, right sides down onto the nice side of the zipper. Place the lining underneath to kind of sandwich that zipper, to sandwich the zipper in between the two fabrics. It's not really clear, is it? And then you just want to pin that and make sure it's all even and nice. So that when you flip it over, you have a nice looking zipper. Wow. You want to sew that with which I did with my zipper foot again. And I used a straight stitch. Make sure to use a thread that's matching your fabric. I used white. Make sure to back stitch as well, so the threads don't come undone. And here's me struggling. And wow, you have a nice zipper. But it's not in a pouch shape, so how isn't that gonna work? Well, to make the inside nice and finished, before you come and buy your zipper, you wanna first, this is very, very important, unzip your zipper around halfway. This is very important, or else you can't really turn the actual product inside out and you're kind of stuck. So, open up the zipper halfway. Make sure to do this. Make the right size of the fabric touch together like that, like a sandwich, like you're closing a book, and flip that whole thing like that. The way my zipper is laid is that most of it's just like laid to the left side. And for the actual like zipper tabs at the top is very tricky, but just kind of line it up, make sure it's lined up, and pin. Same thing to that side. Most important part, when pinning. Oh, and here's the other most important part. Make sure you leave a hole in the lining, like around like a 2 or 3 inch hole in the lining at the very bottom. This is so you can turn your zipper pouch inside out and then pin all the way around. And then here is when I realized my fabric was uneven, so I trimmed that up. I then sewed all around that edge and replaced my zipper foot with that, with my regular foot. And I stitched all the way around, starting at the hole that I'm leaving in the lining. Now, when you get to the corners, you just want to pivot. This basically means putting your needle down into the fabric, lifting your presser foot up, and then turning your fabric. Around the zippered part is a bit bulky, so go slow so you don't break a needle, and use the flywheel, which is the wheel on the side of your machine that like manually makes a stitch. And pull it towards you, and that should make a stitch, and do that very carefully. Once you are done, trim up your threads, and when I realized it was more uneven, and I trimmed that up. Now what am I gonna do? I'm using my bad scissors to cut off any tails. And now I'm using my good scissors, or my fabric scissors, to square up my corners. Basically, I'm just cutting a bit off the corners to make my corners a bit more sharp. Make sure you don't cut your stitches. And now from that hole, you have to flip everything inside out. Don't use your good fabric scissors to cut off these like tails, or else your scissors will be a bit ruined. And you want to flip everything inside out, which will take a while. And push your lining back in, and then poke out all the corners. I'm using this little tool that I have to poke out all the corners. You can use a chopstick. Don't use your scissors, or else you'll risk poking holes. And now you want to stitch that hole up with a top stitch it. I pinned it and then started like at the very, like where the hole started, back stitch, and then sewed that hole closed. You could hand stitch this part to make it a bit more invisible, but it was the inside of the lining. I did not care. I'm trimming up my threads to make my project look nicer, I guess. And now I'm shoving my lining back inside the pouch, and I'm fiddling around with that because the pieces weren't even, so the lining is now bigger than the outside to make sure you cut your pieces even. And then give that a nice flat press. And that's how you do a zipper pouch with scraps that you have. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!